Back on TYT Sports, Jason and JaVale Jackson here to discuss Kevin Durant's injury. At first, he went down after Zaza Pachulia kind of fell on his knee, originally listed as hyperextended, and now listed as a little more serious with a second-degree MCL injury.
And also what? Bone bruise.
Bone bruise, yeah. Which those just kind of
That
suck.
sounds really painful.
It does. And from what I've heard and read, bone bruises are painful. They're not as bad as like an MCL injury or obviously anything like that in the knee. It's just insult to injury at that point, though. It's just like
That's
bone
what you.
bruise.
That's what you think about when you get a bruise. If you land on your hip or your thigh or somebody's arm, elbow jabs your leg, and you get a bruise, and then 2 days later there's this huge purple mark on you, and someone touches it. Does that hurt?
Yeah.
Fucking hurts, right?
It hurts.
And that's just on the surface. So imagine if your bone around your knee area is bruised inside of your body.
It's purple. It would be bad.
I just want you to think
Have
about
you ever had the
how
you
that can feel.
ever play basketball and you have the moment where your two kneecaps come together, the sides of them, if they ever hit, if you land wrong?
Your own two kneecaps?
Your
or you run
own
a
two,
kneecap to
or if
someone
you
else?
run into the kneecap of somebody else, like right in there. It's the
Oh,
it's
on
like,
the side?
Yeah,
I've never done
It's like
that,
one of the
no,
worst
but I can
like
imagine.
painful experiences. It happens in NBA a lot, and that's a lot of the time you'll see guys go down originally, and that's what I always think happens at first is they just slammed bone to bone, kneecap to kneecap, and that just sucks. But in KD's case, what do we have? We have a little blurb here of an injury to discuss this, and it has been diagnosed with left MCL sprain and a tibial bone bruise. Sidelined for 4 weeks before being reevaluated. Well, the good news for the Golden State Warriors. Well, there's a couple of good news breaks for the Warriors. For one, he'll probably be back before April 12th when the season ends. That's about 5.5, 6 weeks away. And if he gets reevaluated and even needs 2 or 3 weeks, it's not like the Warriors should have any trouble in the first round of the playoffs as it is. Number two, I think they have a pretty good team. Am I wrong here?
I was going to say, before they won a championship without KD. They beat KD last year to get to the finals when he was on another team. And so then he comes to the Warriors, and now, I don't know, it's just, I feel like we're losing sight of reality. It's not like the Warriors were the worst team in the league before KD got there, and suddenly KD has come in and saved this franchise and has now exalted them to this point. Oh my God, what are they going to do without Kevin Durant? What did they do before without Kevin Durant? They won. So so who do they lose in this whole offseason? Just throw out a name. Harrison Barnes. So how are they going to move on after losing Harrison Barnes?
They signed a guy with a very similar name.
And then signing Kevin Durant this season. Now he's gone. Who's going to fill this huge hole that they didn't have a hole before?
Matt Barnes.
Matt Barnes.
So Matt Barnes took to Instagram, by the way, and so I don't know, I shouldn't be angry about these things. Like, there's no reason in my life why I should ever be angry at this. Like, anybody who gets triggered over these things is a loser, in my own opinion, and I'm going to call myself a loser. He says, "Wish I could bring you two with me. I'm at a loss for words right now. Next to the birth of my children, this is the happiest day of my life. Coming back to where it all started." Matt Barnes just played for like 8 teams, and he's usually a problem player alongside his teammates. I don't think he's a great teammate now because I don't see Baron Davis and Steven Jackson being like, "Good for you, brother. I hope I wish we can come back." I thought Baron Davis was trying to make an NBA comeback.
Yeah, I heard about that.
The Cavs will sign him this weekend.
As I think you're going to get to, Steven Jackson did say, "Good for you, brother.
Oh, he
I'm
did?
happy for
Yes,
you."
he did.
was
You're
in the
actually
tweet.
right. You're right. That was the tweet.
Because he tweeted again, of course. We'll stop hinting
We'll
at
add this
it.
one.
Matt Barnes also tweeted out or Instagrammed a screenshot of his text conversation
With Steven Jackson.
And Steven Jackson started it by saying, "I just saw the news. Congratulations, bro. You see how God works. God is good. It's going to work out for you. Congrats." And then that's when he was saying, "I love you. Thank you." You know what, man? The only problem I had with that picture was that 2 Bruins are in it. Matt Barnes and Baron Davis. That's my only problem with that picture.
right.
Which, oddly, I am a Matt Barnes fan. I've been a Matt Barnes
You
fan
like that's right.
for
You do.
a while.
When we talked, we had
It's
you
really
on
weird.
for the Derek Fisher Matt Barnes beef, and you were always pro Matt Barnes. Always anti Derek Fisher.
I will always be anti-Derek Fisher. It's weird because, like I said, everyone knows I talk about USC all the time, and then I hate the Bruins.
Did you go there?
Only for 4.5 years.
Right.
But the thing is, it's weird. I have a soft spot for Matt Barnes because he is one of those professional athletes that keeps it real no matter how much people hate him. And I love that because I hate the fakeness. I hate this team is a great team and our opponents really came out hard. We're just going to try and see if we can get some points on the board. I really don't think we'll win tonight. Like, I hate guys that do that because they don't really mean it, and then they have to do it or else the media's going to jump on them. So they just have to bullshit everybody. He doesn't bullshit that much. He lets you know what's going on. I follow him on all those platforms, and he's just straight up. I love it. It's the way it's supposed to be. So he put out there, yeah, God's good. I'm good. I'm glad I'm going to the Warriors. Where it all started, we're going to do this again. He's excited. He just got waived from Sacramento. Of course he's excited. Why can't he do that?
Because I don't want this guy getting a championship ring. Like, I'm sick of this. I'm sick of the, it's funny. I don't mind KD going to the Warriors to get a ring. I mind Matt Barnes going to the Warriors to get a championship ring. By the way, so I don't know why people think this is crazy. Yesterday, when they said KD leaves with injury and they signed Matt Barnes for not a 10-day contract. Like, people going like, oh, man, I don't think KD's injury is that bad. Like, they're just adding Matt Barnes to get better. It's like, no, you don't sign somebody for the rest of the season if your star player who just went down isn't going to be out for more than, I don't know, 10 games, 10 days, 4 or 5 days. Right. Speaking of, Jimmer Fredette's also trying to make a comeback from he's the China League MVP. I read that today also.
Oh, and also, by the way, another part of the collateral damage, we mentioned this before, how you don't like, I guess, the nature of the tweets or Instagrams, whatever it is he was doing. Jose Calderon was seemingly going to get signed.
He deserved to be signed. I'm happy that Jose Calderon didn't get signed.
So, but you know what? In an act of good faith from the Warriors, which I'm also not a fan of, but also that organization,
they honored it, right?
They honored what they were going to sign to Calderon, signed him to it, I assume. I'm not sure how it works.
I think he was a 10-day contract.
Okay.
Which is still a chunk of change. Yeah. It's not like, I don't know off the top of my head. I'm sure it's a couple $100,000. I don't think it's in the millions range, but still, that 4 games that you'd play over those 10 days.
So it'd be like, Jose, we're going to have you come in, sign this, get the fuck out of here. We don't want you.
Look, I'll take that deal any day of the week. I know I can't play, so it'd be like, look, I'm as good as Jose Calderon at this point. Get me on the court. What is he, 40? He was such a... Jose Calderon, here's what I'll remember Jose Calderon for. At one point being a good point guard in the NBA, but also a guy who also allowed Kobe to score 81 points. Like, he allowed Kobe's 50 of his 81 when he played for the Raptors in that Kobe 81-point game. Do I have anything else for, but the Warriors' offensive rating and stuff like that, in case you were wondering, without the depth of their bench, like what they had, what they still look like with just Draymond, Clay, and Steph. God, what a terrible team. B-Ball Breakdown had you covered with this tweet. Because it's something like, the net rating is something like 14.1 points ahead compared to where it was. Like, with KD, they're 20 points better, and when they're not with KD, it's still not bad.
This also KD was a big part of anchor for the defense. Everyone knows, of course, Draymond is the defensive guy, right? But KD, like, you see him as the scorer, or he came in, he can shoot these 3 points, or he's versatile, he can drive, he can do all these things. But you know what? It's good to have a defensive anchor. And again, we're going to go back to my bias here, or my affinity, but Matt Barnes is a great defensive player. As much as you don't like, a lot of times those guys with that kind of demeanor and seemingly assholishness, they're good defenders.
At least they try.
He's a good defender. He's a good perimeter defender.
I'll give him that.
He can guard the ball.
I don't mean to take away so much from Matt Barnes. Here we go. So the offensive rating without KD on the court, still through the roof. There's not a team that touches that besides probably the Houston Rockets, because they score 173 points a game when they shoot 75 or more threes. You know, they took 58 threes the other day? I watched that game and I was like, this is a shooting contest. And that was in only 215 total minutes. But as you mentioned, that's a really good point. At this point, everyone knows Kevin Durant's lethal ability to score the ball. He does 30 points in his sleep, it doesn't look like it's that even that hard for him. It's what happens when you're a 7-footer lying and being 6'10". So the scouting reports have you wrong. And they don't put small forwards on you. They have to put power forwards on you. But on the other end of the court, especially where Steph Curry's inefficiency on defense, which really can show, because you have a great defender in Klay Thompson. You have a very, very good to great defender, actually better defender in Draymond Green, depending on what you take the kicking as. And you have a good defender in Kevin Durant. It's surprising because they're so good at offense that people don't seem to take their defense as seriously as they should. But there's a reason why this team is going to still win, 64, 65, 66 games. And there's all the jokes like, oh, they already lost 10 games. They were better last year without Kevin Durant. Potentially they were, but they might just be better geared to win the finals this year with Kevin Durant if he's healthy.
We're not worried about that. That's not every year it's become, can they only lose 9 games? It's okay.
It's
Don't
like
worry
the
about it.
Jordan year when they won 72 games, and then the next year they won 69.
Yeah.
And people were like, well,
Oh, he fell off.
I mean,
It's a slump.
what a drop-off. If Kevin Durant is not in for the playoffs, it will be more competitive in the playoffs, and that depth of the bench depth will be exposed. But they still got Iguodala and Sean Livingston. It looks like Patrick McCaw, the rookie there, is going to get a lot more playing time. Of course, Matt Barnes. So they pieced together some last-minute deals, and good for the Warriors. It should keep them in contention, obviously, for the #1 seed. I don't think the Spurs are all that close. Comment below, like, favorite, subscribe, at JR Jackson.
Don't you know?
Twitter, on Instagram, on Snapchat. Is that it?
Yeah.
WhatsApp? I don't know.
My name is everywhere.
All right.
Just go to it. You can
Facebook
search
also.
it on.
It's all the good stuff. We'll see you next time.